that won't fall over. This wind is kind of nuts. This stranger is all one-handed. I don't think there's anything inside where I can really kind of put it inside. This falling over is just a pain in the ass. So, but the right equipment to do live streaming or a good proper setup. But you're outside, you're dealing with real world. I don't have a vehicle or a studio to do, perfect system. So this is what you get. We put you there temporarily. That's what's left over the second can. Maybe third or half. If the wind hadn't been so bad, I would have been able to do this whole thing probably with one can, but wind killed the spray pattern. And oh, there we go. That's just not much you can do about that. I just gotta sort this up so I can move the mattress out of the way. Let's move that should be. I got a little bungee cord just holding my, I call it bench, out of the way. Put this in the front, close out. I'm not bothering anybody. Then I can move the mattress. Alright. Roll. To do this, I won't need the cardboard in here anymore. Alright. Oh, yeah, I'm an idiot. The pieces are still back at my place and not in the vehicle. Shortest live stream ever. Man, A for effort. I can't even do what I wanted to do. I mean, I don't live far from here. I could just go back and get it. Keep the live stream going because, why the hell not? All right. Well, that's just, yes. Welcome to the realm of not being perfect. Like, ever. But such is life in donuts, right, folks? All right. Put the mattress back. I'm not going to make anything too neat here because I just do it again. I just need to grab the wood panels, the painted balls. Not going to tie that down because I just got to take it out again. And not going far. But, yep. It's a day. Temperature sucks. Well, now that the clouds are here, temperature dropped like no tomorrow. Good thing I grabbed an energy drink. Yeah, it's a day. Not a total loss, just one of those dumb moments, Shit happens, so you can come with me for the drive. I literally do not live far from here. But being here gives me a little more flexibility, less worrying about who might say anything. Not that people really say anything. Lately, my trim piece is coming a little loose, which is really weird. Clips back in place, Grab this without killing the light beam, turning anything off, whatever the case may be. Make mistakes, overthink things. The idea is sound. There we go. That's sorted out a little better. Like, who knew you were going for a drive today, right? Oh man, you make stupid little mistakes like that. I have one piece, but that's because it was all done and dried. I painted the other ones. I painted them late last night because it was still warm out, so I wanted to get that last coat on there. That's not a perfect coat, but this doesn't need to be perfect. This is a proof of concept. Get the project together, actually use it, and lays the groundwork for the next versions. The next versions will use some better stuff. I'm pretty thankful for this park. A nice little truck to let me go by. I just gotta get down the street quick enough so that it's not impacting him because I'm just turning around. So I don't want to be blocking him if at all possible because he was nice enough to let me go through. Okay, and turn. Okay. See, not far, literally. All right, we'll just take you with me. Not worry about locking the vehicle as well. That's gonna be throwing stuff in it. I'm just going behind my place to grab the wood. Which will be challenging. We'll see if it's not too tacky to put together. Hey, Nazar, Danico, who are you? I'm Don. I'm Dragon Don. And this is my little adventures with my Honda Element, building my power box. So I've got some batteries and components. You'll see them once I well, the wood. Today I took the box apart so I can paint the wood. That looks a little nicer. Okay. Yeah, that's all dried, not tacky. Maybe the design's a little tacky, but yeah, this is going to be good enough. Where you don't really care too much about aesthetics. If it works, it works. That's all that matters. Okay. Wood in hand, literally. You know, it's just irritating trying to get the weather to line up to the paint job. We need more live. Well, here we are. I keep forgetting. I think the last two live streams I did on my other channel, because it's just the default one that comes up in my YouTube app. And I just totally forget about switching channels. I start the live and I'm like, whoops. So I'll try to eventually port those over. Okay. Okay. Not that I think anybody, I don't know how many people would actually be interested in rewatching and a 3 hour live stream, but yeah, some people do. You generally won't see, a lot of mistakes, I guess. But it happens. Okay, now I can go back to the spot. And my radio, turn that off. I got this 8-inch head unit, Android head unit. It's okay. It has some quirks I would prefer not to have. Like when I play music and I turn the car off, it generally will just restart the music app and just start playing. For the most part, it's okay. Sometimes that's just less than ideal. And I don't understand how it just restarts on its own. It doesn't do it all the time. I turn the car off and turn the car back on, and randomly it'll just reboot. There's a regular power. It doesn't do it all the time, which is, anyway, it was cheap enough. It just does the job. There's some speaker wires I'll eventually have to fix up because there's a ignition hum I'm picking up. Again, not all the time. So it's really kind of bizarre. But you know what? It just does what it needs to do. I've watched YouTube clips and movies on here. Well, not full movies. I watch YouTube clips. Let the literal soccer mom get out of the driveway so it's easier for me to get in. Yeah, there's a sports field over here, and it's got parking on the one of the main streets. This is one of the side streets, well, side parking lot to go for this field. In the wintertime, they close up this parking lot. They don't want people obviously just parking here, I guess, or they want to be worried about maintenance. It's a gravel lot, so it's not like they have to do any real maintenance, and it's private. As far as I know, it's private, not city owned. But you know what? The wind was coming from that way. I'm gonna park facing into the wind and have the brunt of the air hit the front of the vehicle as opposed to the back where I am. And hopefully that should keep things a little nicer, a little warmer. Yeah, it's better. They just not got a constant wind on you. And I got a little temperature thing in here, and it's still showing it's like 21 degrees Celsius. And for all you non-Canadians, non-metric guys, you can do your own conversion. But so it's not warm, but it's not chilly. It's just a like cool breeze that just slowly drains stuff for you. This tastes nice, but then I realize, so it's a monster drink. It's the Viking Berry. Ooh. I generally get the sugar-free one, and I thought this was one of them. It is not. There is, how much again? Where are you? Oh, yes. 52 grams of sugar for every one of these. All right, well, tastes nice. It says punch, but it says Viking Berry. So Viking Berry punch? I don't know. It's fruity flavored, but you know, whatever. Tastes good. The sugar-free stuff is generally I try to stick with. All right, so let's try this again with the material. Put the drink here for now. Let's see. Battery and cable, keep the phone all tanked up. And the battery I'm using today, 50,000 milliamp hours. I think this thing's a beast. It'll do 2 USB A's and 1 USB C, and a micro USB. So the USB C is handy, especially going out or in. So I generally charge from that. I use my laptop charger. I have a laptop charger back at home. So it's a Windows machine, and it's a 40-watt charger, I believe. Does a pretty good job. Takes a while when this thing's low, and I don't get it too low often. It does take some time to charge this up, but that's because it's a big battery. So you know, if I really want to use super fancy, I could literally just plug this into my my batteries here. I do have a USB-C to USB-C charger. I wouldn't use any adapters. Let's put you back over to the other side where you were the first time. Watch all the action. There we go. Good enough for now. Painted wood. Bottom piece. All right. All right. Move the bench out of the way. Bench is out of the way. Now for the mattress. Let's kill the. All right, I forgot how my desk cam's on. There we go. Okay. Mattress out of the way. Let's move my electrical components. And of course, batteries. Actually, no, I won't put them up there because I got to move and lift up the frame. Okay. Guess I need to undo the strap that holds the frame down. Yeah, this is not bolted to the vehicle, so it is removable, but it's strapped down strong enough where it won't go anywhere in an accident. And that's the key thing. You don't want anything flying around. I mean, every car's got to have some sort of small thing. Alrighty. So let's get a bit of a visual going on here. So there's the match. There's the frame. This built this. Yeah, again, not pretty, but does the job. I thought about coating it, but time to do everything. And when you don't have a garage, you have to do everything outside. Oh, some stuff you just kind of give up on. But not that I'm ever worried about this ever going bad in the times I'm going to be using it. Okay, and then you got the slats. Those are just from IKEA because I found out that the width was just perfect enough. And you still have a bit of space at the sides for, pardon me, some storage. The components we'll get into. So this is the first piece. So let's see. Okay, switch cameras around. Let's move you here. I know this is useful enough. Yeah, good enough. Another painted piece. This is basically just going under here. You know what? I'm going to do a little quick sweeping to keep things clean and organized. This is one of the things. Once it's in there, it's not really going to be moved unless something really needs to change. I like to keep this as clean as humanly possible. Right now, I can put 70. Oh, one over down. Oh, look at that. You turned over. Oh, YouTube used to be able to go that way for some reason. Can't we camera on you more? I'm not sure what you're asking for there. Hello, everybody. I've said hello. But you can watch as much as you would like. Now that the good weather is starting, present days, it's not cold in winter out, so that's better. I'll be doing more. We starting a new job, so at least every other weekend I'll be trying to get out and do something outdoors. Okay, so you were going to go that way. Okay, let's see, maybe getting my stand out might be the better thing for you here. Now, the fun part. All right. Okay, so you're there. Now I need to stop the thing from. This is a handy little stand, but it's a little too light. So any camera weight onto it, and it tips over, and any wind on it, it tips over. So I mean, it's a dollar store camera stand tripod. So it works great for what it is and what it costs. Oops. Take down the strap I loosened. Oh, my door just caught the back of my leg. Oh, that hurt. Oh. Hey, windy days. Windy days suck. All right. That's on there good and strong. That's not going anywhere. I'm going to grab my drink. Okay, so this is not going anywhere. Okay, that's the side panel there. That's right. I didn't get one more piece of hardware. You, you, and you. Okay. Just need to double check. Make sure this is going in. I didn't have anything screwed into that. This is the loose piece of the jigsaw puzzle. Okay. You were there. You were there, and you go there. Now make sure all the holes line up again. Yay. All right. So I'll give you a quick look here. Or not. All right. So this way. So there. That's the box where everything is mounted to. You can see a couple of little holes there already where things are bolted down. Now I've got some screws to put into here, so I've got to get those out from the front. And then things will be mounted again. Let's see. Maybe I'll put the camera over there so it's facing this way. First things first, get the screws. And tools. And luckily, I kept them all here. I try to keep things relatively simple for this build. Complex or crazy. And I've got two 50 amp hour lithium batteries, so they get the job done. And again, I'm going to say thanks to DC House. They provided the batteries. Now, I say provided. Really, I bought them, so there's no sponsorship here. But hey, it would be nice if I could get more talks through the sponsorship. Okay. Get my components ready. My DC to DC charger, 12 volt, 20 amp. I'm only dealing with 100 amps total. I don't think I need anything bigger than this. I'm not planning to go for a month at a time. It's just to kind of charge up. Ideally, on the way home after the trip, so that after I've used it, I do have solar panels. The solar panels will do some charging, of course, weather permitting, of course, while I'm parked somewhere. Solar panels are the foldable types. They're from 100-watt, eco-worthy. They're in what I call the attic. This is the cargo storage above. Well, I will keep that out until I do everything else is regular bolted. Bus bars. So everything basically going to this and then run to all the components. So the charging and discharging, and the battery from the alternator is going to come up into this guy. These guys are got some weight to them. These are pretty heavy duties. What are you? Okay. Fuse box, which I still have to do a little bit more wiring to. This little kit, it's actually pretty handy. So you got your fuses, relays. I've got two more fuses to wire up. And this is a different type of connector on there. I'm not sure what that would actually go for. Like you've got your 5 standard fuse types or relays. Pardon, relays 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a different type of connector. Curious what it's for. And your standard ATO fuses there. So all the ATO fuses are wired up. That relay is wired up, and these two are wired up. I still have the kit to do 2 more, so I will do that at a later point. Right now, I really can't see me using more than 3 at this very moment because I don't have a lot, and I don't know exactly which ones I'm going to run to this yet. Everything else is fairly straightforward, so not that I have a lot of need for relays per se, but they're there just in case. I'll run a couple of the fuses outside to this. I'm going to call bus bar, but not bus bar. And the name of it is now totally eluding me. Terminal block. Haha! Not totally illuminating. So this will be mounted on the outside so that I can do quick connects for power or whatever I might need, either temporary or permanent, so I don't have to keep taking this off and wiring stuff. That's why I got most of this wired up. So what have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 circuits have I got wired up? Is that right? Make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, 9 circuits on here. 11 because you got positive and negative and whatnot. Because with the relays, you got a couple different connectors. But still, I got lots of connections, lots of options. This would be the solar charge controller. Nothing fancy. It's just this is only a 10 amps, 12 or 24 volt. But I believe this one will only do up to the rated at 30 amps. Not that my solar panels will go that high anyways. And then we've got temperature controller and a fan. Temperature controller will be wired to these guys. They're silicone heating pads. They were going to be going under the batteries. I may put them there now. I'm going to have to debate about that a little bit. I should, just because I'm putting everything in. Not that it's hard to unscrew and screw back in again, but you don't want to do that too many times, obviously, with the wood. But yeah, so the temperature controller, this is a 12-volt version. I'll have the heating pads run into this, and whatever temperature I set it at, if it gets below that, then it uses the batteries to heat the batteries. So I've made my own self-heating batteries. So, and then you can set this also to a high temperature so that the fan, just a 12-volt computer fan, will turn on. But it's very likely I'm going to be leaving this running all the time, just for air circulation. Right? Help keep things cool, but it's the humidity and moisture you're trying to prevent, and that's a bigger problem than pretty much anything else these days. I was looking at this connector on the side. This must go into some sort of block so that this pushes up against it, so it's kind of acts as mount against it. So if you want to drill a hole and cut out a hole for this, and then this can go behind it to hold it against that. But I'm not mounting it this way. I'm mounting it this way so that it'll be sitting right here. So if I need to look, I can just look. If I need to change something, I can change something. And this is the temperature sensor that will go between the 2 batteries. I'll probably set it at something like, 5 degrees Celsius, so just a little bit above freezing. I'll do some more research to see what really be the optimal one, but probably like 5 degrees. And keep it. I don't know how long I'll keep it for. That's still something I have to math out, if you will. But it doesn't need to be running constantly, obviously. They're low power enough, so I'm not going to kill the batteries, that's for sure. And just wing nuts holding the sides in. They just have to be held against the wood. Not complex, but it has to be flexible enough to be removable. For one reason and one reason only. And it's such a rare chance of me actually using it, but it's for my spare tire. Spare tire is beneath this, so everything has to be removable to get access to it. Now, it would really suck if I needed to use a spare tire. And that's generally going to be one of those conditions where I am somewhere where I do not get a tow service or a cell service to be able to call for a tow. That would be the advantage of having something like Starlink on mobile, that you can use your internet to make a cell phone call. That's a neat little option. Okay, so that's one in. Now, let's go over here. There was one here and one for that board, and the bottom just sits there. It's not going anywhere. The problem was when I took this out, I got everything. I may be lying to you. Huh. Okay. I was about to lie to you, but I'm figure I don't need to. When I took this one out, the wing nut itself fell off and I couldn't find it. But apparently I did find it and put it with everything and just thought I lost it. Hooray! That's a tight area to get in there. Just enough to hold this and put it on. Well, yay! I'm happy over that because I forgot I need to go and buy a replacement. Luckily, these are things I still can buy individually. It does seem kind of silly to go into a hardware store like Home Depot to buy just one wing nut, but that's all I need. Then why would I buy the whole kit of them? I'm not doing that much, for that many projects. Okay, now this is the fun part, trying to get in here. Take the ring off and drop the screw. Drop the screw the washer. Okay, flat washer. You are on. Hot washer. Because I don't want this stuff vibrating apart, so washers are a good idea. Now the wing nut. This is going to be the challenging part because you can't see. Just putting a washer over a bolt is fine, but not if there's a ton of room here. And you hope you get it right. That out of the way. And somehow this needs to spin on when you got no real leverage. Oop. I can't quite read that from here, so hang on. I'll respond to people when I can. I don't know it's not necessarily a problem. I don't look at the screen a lot because I'm busy doing the project, of course. Oh, almost. Yeah, got it on. Leverage on this, just tighten this up, is one finger. Okay. Again, these don't need to be that tight on there because it's just not a real problem. I thought about this one, and it doesn't really wedge in there. I'm going to have the temperature controller on here. I'll probably just use double-sided tape. It's not going to be mounted. but it's still, yeah. So we'll have to drill a hole and get one more bolt and wing nut combo to put onto here. Although, you know what? I have more than enough screws to just put one in there and stop that problem. Okay, now I gotta do that one, but I gotta do it from the front. Should have turned you before I got back here. Oh well, give me a couple of seconds. Put this on and come back. Go. You, and wing nut. There we go. That's not going anywhere. Cool. All right, we have everything in place, except for that guy. I think I have all my drill bits here. I could just drill a hole. I don't need a drill bit. I know I have my power tool. I just need to make sure I have enough, have the screws with me, which I believe I do. I'll grab that right now. Now, got that. Where are the screws? Screws. There we go. I'll just grab this whole thing. All right, one kit. I just need a drill bit. In general, I've never been really a big fan of square head screws. But I'll say this, certainly convenient enough. At least for this project. Basically, I just need one screw to hold this in. Not a lot of strain on this wood, and this is designed to just hold it in place. So that it just doesn't flop around. There you go. Done. Takes me longer to set it up and put it away than it does to screw. All right. Oh, actually, I'm going to need you. What am I doing? Let's put you away. Okay. Let's just move this out of the way. See, now this looks certainly a lot more decent than just plain wood. Although not that plain wood was bad. But it will be a little brighter in darker times with the light that can reflect off of here. So you can see what's going on in here. Who knows what's going down the line. When I did the hole for the fan, I basically used a step drill and just drilled a bunch of stuff. It's ugly, less than perfect, definitely. And maybe at some point I'll be able to get around to, cleaning that up down the road. But again, this is just something, proof of concept, and it just has to work. Now, what did it say? Oh, game market. Sorry, I didn't miss anything. I thought I did. Okay. Now, this one, handy, no brackets. But it's funny, it was the hardest thing to mount because I put it in last, and this section was against the front. It was the worst idea that I could have done because I should have did this first. And things you learn. I was trying to do it all from this angle and leaning back and get it at this way, and I just couldn't. Everything was just too at the edge of the. You can't. Nothing was stable. Nothing. I just need to do it from the front. And before I put the batteries in, because the batteries just take up too much chunk of a space here. So let's this. I'm trying to do this without falling. Yeah, I think that should be good enough. I'll do this one first. Less hassle. I just have to hold it at an awkward angle because of space. And there we go. That took me about 20 minutes to do when I had everything else in here. Totally dumb way to doing it. But things you learn, order of operations, if you will. And since we're here, let's get my inverter. And it'll show you, in case you didn't know, this is the cable. This is the cable we're running from the alternator back to here. Now I'm going to have to drill a hole, use a step drill again to get this to mount into here. I don't know exactly where it's going to come in, whether it's the bottom of this side or the front here. Probably on this side is my guess, but we'll see. I mean, I'm gonna have a friend of mine help me run this so that we're keeping it safe and whatnot. But this whole thing, this came out of a 2005 BMW X5. It took 3.5 hours to get out of the vehicle. That was not fun. Not fun at all. I have a new respect for some BMW engineering. Let me tell you, this is a 20-year-old cable, and it's an awesome, awesome shape. So it's probably a $200 cable. One of these days I'll call BMW and say, hey, how much for a deposit battery cable? Just to see. I'm willing to bet it's probably like $200. I paid 27 in 3.5 hours. And if you're wondering why it's 3.5 hours, that's because it ran on the outside of the vehicle, not on the inside. You would think the inside would take longer. Oh no. It might have, but they had these. It's obviously a heavy duty cable. It's definitely on the outside of the vehicle. Not going to weather. I mean, it's still soft and supple, and it's flexible. There's no real problems with the plastic at all covering it. But because it ran on the outside, it hugged the body of the vehicle, and had these plastic. I want to say traps. That's not the word I want. Tracks. So it went into that. These tracks would clamp around it, typically around corners where it bend. So just kind of go around, follow the body lines of the car. These tracks would hold it, and a couple of zip ties to make sure the tracks didn't open, and the tracks just pop onto the body. Usually, or there were some tabs, and they had screws, little plastic screws holding it down. So it was against the body, and it would do that for every part along the way. I got 90% of it off. Had to drop the belly pan covers. So they were just, again, plastic held on with a couple of screws. They came off really easy. But also went back over the gas tank and then into the back, because the battery of those are in the back of the vehicles, below basically where my spare tire would be. And then it had this the cable came in to like a flat end, but it had a bolt to come up. The bolt went into a special bracket so that it came through the floor of the vehicle, and then you can screw the next part of it onto whatever terminals and connectors and relays it had there. I got 90% off, but that part they're going over the tank, that was probably 2.5 hours just to do that. And luckily I had my friend with me, Taylor done. Thanks again, Taylor. They were so so annoyed with it, and so was I too. So I don't think I'll ever be able to ask him for another favor ever again. I can't say I really blame him, but I at least bought him lunch, so that's something. But man, what a pain that was, and we end up having to cut the end off. It's kicking around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. That's the end we had to cut off with the Sawzall because we were finally able to get at it from the top, just above the tank, and get at the plastic trim pieces, track pieces holding it in, but we couldn't pull it out because of that. So cut it off, and then we were able to pull it out because there was just one part that was pinched in, and it wouldn't come out if we tried. So cut it off, and that's what I mean by the 90-degree bolt that's on that. I'll tell you this: I don't know what the hell this plastic is made of, but it is the toughest shit I've ever tried. I got a multi-tool with a serrated edge, and I tried really hard to chew that up. And I after 15 minutes, I barely got anywhere on this thing because this is likely some sort of cap, and the bolt would be held on probably with a like a little hex nut, which we could have got out of there and then pull the whole thing off. But no, it's some heavy duty stuff. So yeah. So you wonder why BMW charge a lot of money? That's some engineering right there. Is every one of them? Are they all perfect? No, but certainly that was had some. Oops. Okay, that's one. Things you learn, and you learn them hard way. You've been doing it, but the older you get, it hurt for a couple of days. And this is my inverter. It's just a 750 watt. I picked up my local Canadian Tire. It was actually on sale. They were discontinuing this as they upgraded, and that's just fine. It ultimately doesn't really care. This has an obvious limitation that it's a modified sine wave. So if you know anything about power, the modified sine waves are fine for resistive elements, anything without a motor, basically. Not sensitive electronics per se. I mean, I could plug in, and I have used my 6-cup rice cooker plugged into here. Works fine. I haven't done it yet, but I probably could just plug in the charger for the DeWalt batteries, and it would work fine. But when I tried, I've got a Dremel tool, a Canadian Tire version, and I used it on a different battery, but the same modified sine waves type of inverter, and it would just go. Quick explanation: sine waves are just a smooth curve. Modifieds are look like square tooth, and that's what the motor would see. One part of it, hey, that's the charge I need, and then would stop until the next wave came through. So pros and cons. This would be fine for some things, not everything, but not like I'm running anything that's uber critical here. Very likely to be cutting those ends off to run to the bus bar. So this is just going to go right here. That doesn't seem right. I'm just looking at my old holes where this came out of. This seems to be running a little on the high side. It was. I think I had to go down on an angle. Not the most perfect setup, but it is what it is. When I just saw the manufacturer date of this is 2023, and they discontinued it. That's just kind of crazy. It shows you how fast products move around. Well, that's not going anywhere. Let's put my bus bars in, then I'll put the batteries in. See, technically at the moment, even without the vehicle hooked up, I can still use the components. I can just run wires and everything. You and you. These bus bars, I'm impressed. They're pretty heavy duty. You have these plastic caps. So we've got this protective cap over top of the connectors. So nothing can accidentally hit it and short it out. It's a pretty smart idea. And I'd have to look it up. I forget what these are rated at. But seeing as the most power that's going to be going through here is the DC to DC charger at 20 amps. This guy here, my inverter is 750 watts. So I can't look it up right now. If you take 750 divided by 12, they're 100 amp batteries. Well, 50 and 50. So the most really is going to be flowing through this is somewhere around maybe 50 amps. But you oversize things just to be on the safe side, right? Right. Oops. Wrong hole! Let's go a little bit further. This is why I don't mark this safe for children. Because I will swear I will make inappropriate comments just because that's the way life is. Make that a little tighter. There we go. Kind of exciting to see things come together. Even if it took a little while to get to there. And then with the new job starting, I'll have access to more toys. Could be a little dangerous. All right, that's mounted. Now, for Ventura, I should think about the terminal block. That's I'm thinking right there. Go a little closer to the fuse relay box so that the wiring I've already done will all run there if I need to. That's the plan. Now, of course, I'll be using dielectric grease to make sure everything is nice and protected. A little bit closer. Down a little bit. And since these are going through the 1/8 inch plywood into the frame, another thing to hold this thing from moving anywhere just means I have to take these out if I want to. At least unscrew it if I want to remove the boards. That's not going anywhere. I mean, theoretically, I put 4 on it, but why? It's not that much stress. And I'll turn the camera around later to show you. Okay. Which way is the fan blowing? They're flowing this way, so you are going on this way. We're going to go over to there. Now, I think I just had it taped in there. The screw, that's right, these screws aren't long enough. They won't even bite into the wood. So I'll have to get longer screws, mount that to the wood. So these 2 pieces will just kind of sit in here for now. Not the end of the world, it just is what it is. Okay, view out of the way. If you have any idea. I'm a little low to mount these in just yet. Because I don't want to permanently mount them until I know the wiring is going to be exactly where it is. So I will keep them off. Putting them in and wiring them up is easy. So luckily, doing anything with these are straightforward. But I want to wait a little bit more until I get into the wiring aspect of everything. Oh yeah, and that battery cable. Likely, I will have XF left over so that I can still make a negative cable. So I'll just trim it off and that so that I can ground out this whole setup. But we'll know that once I've got it in and mounted and routed everywhere. Okay. That's out of the way. That's going to go that way. Okay, I'll put that in after the batteries because the cables are just going to be in the way. All right, battery time. Oh, sitting on that age. Man, you know how you can tell you're getting old? When you ask questions, do you know how you can tell when you're getting old? All right. Battery number 1. And these are my DC House 50 amp hour batteries. DC House has been really helpful. Their customer service is great. Can totally recommend them and the batteries I've had for a while now. This is still a bit of a mess to find. I have to clean this up. So I was using this. It's basically its own power station. It's got a BMS already built into it, and the only thing it didn't have was a 12-volt port and a little battery monitor. So I bought these. These are okay. They just give you a rough indication of what the voltage is. It doesn't tell you how much is actually in it, but it's better than having nothing. So, because lithium batteries will run a long time, they have a very flat drain curve and they cut off quickly. So it could say, well, right now it's saying 13.2 volt at 100%, but that will hold for a long time and then starts dropping off rather rapidly. So it's a handy little setup to have for a little while, just to give me some sort of idea. Okay, I can do something like that. All right. Temperature sensor wire. This is going to go this way. Leave the wire behind it for now. All right. And I can give you guys a quick little visual tour. I will have these mounted in better. This is just temporary to hold them from moving around for now. This is all we really needed, right? Stop things from sliding around in case of any other stupid people drivers. And clearly there's lots of those around. I'll do that from the front. These batteries aren't going anywhere. Darn good thing I decided to park this way because this vehicle is blocking all the wind that would normally be running into right now from the backside. That would be just irritating. All right, so we're almost done just setting up the basic stuff here. Okay, we'll put this right against there. That'll be good enough. Now, this is not the screw I'm going to be using permanently here just because it's too big for the depth of this. But it's just going to tack it in place, if you will. So this doesn't move around. There we go. That's not going anywhere. Okay. I can give you the $5 tour. I think I got everything that I need for now. Let's get wait. All right. And there we go. This is your basic setup. So the DC to DC charger, that's the temperature sensor. It's going to go to the right and right behind there. The two DC house 50 amp hour batteries, bus bars, the positive, negative, obviously, the inverter, and the fuse, and the terminal block. In here, you've got the fan to pull air in, temperature controller that will be running the fan, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to leave all the time, and the temperature, the heating pads that will sit underneath the batteries. So they'll sit over there, and might even put them behind. Again, this is thinking out. They might be just sit right back here. And, it doesn't really matter. It's just these are where the last things are going to be mounted in permanently. And then that's the vent, so the air comes in and comes into here, and then can be pushed out that way. And likely, the battery cable is going to come in underneath the positive from underneath the fuse box, relay box there. So then that will come in and go to here. Where's it? Get a sample. So, kind of like that. Right? And then the ground one, which would be maybe with the leftover stuff, will come out here, and I haven't decided where that's going to go just yet. Like, we'll have to take this apart to make sure we got a hole and a good space for that. But this is essentially the basic setup. This is for the DC-DC charger. So you've got your ground, which will run to there, and another ground which will run to there, and another ground which will run to there. So output which will go to the positive over there. What do you? You are the DC input. So this will come from over there. I have to double check where those go from. DC input and output. I have to double check my wiring. Actually, I think I have the thing for it here. And this should be the solar one. Yeah, the solar input. This is where the solar panel plug will be put on the end of this. And this should be the ground for it too. So, still some things to sort out. But it's getting there, man. And another month, I should have this, I think, running exactly how I want it. So, these, I actually have another power station already, a Canadian Tire one. Bought that years ago before I got into making my own. And these cables came with it. So it's a big, heavy lead acid bugger. I mean, it weighs a ton, but it can do boosting. So these are booster cables for that power station, which is pretty impressive. Then there's a 12 volt to 12 volt little plug. So if you, this is just to kind of run between two 12 volt systems. I can, yeah, not that I would have a lot of amperage to trust on that, because 12 volt you're limited to 10 amps, and it's like 18 gauge speaker wire category there. So not something you're going to run for a long, long time without overheating, causing problems. But yeah, I think we're calling this a success for today. Ran into a few little stumbling things, but this is normal. The heating pads, I'll keep those in here. It's funny, I was debating on how to mount these. The screw and the holes are fine. They'll do the job just fine. I could still even potentially put something here, maybe just a bracket. Then mount that into here with a shorter screw, so that keeps it just a little bit more from sliding backwards. Like, not that anything's really going to hit that. I'd have to be hit really hard in the back, like seriously hard, to the point where I don't know if I'd want to walk away type of thing before this gets broken off. But yeah, I think this all turned out pretty good. It's certainly a learning, like this camera mount. It's certainly a learning thing, but I've had fun, and I know next time which components to get. This is a lot of mix and match. This is what I have, so that's what I'm gonna get, and I mean it all worked fine, because this is a relatively simple system. The only thing, well, the two things I absolutely, two categories of things I absolutely need, are fuses. So there's going to be a fuse on each battery, a fuse at the front battery for the big cable, and that should be it for fuses. I need to double check my wiring plan. I've got the little fuses, but that's just all going to go on one circuit. So 12 volt, those fuses are already there. So those ones are just pretty straightforward. It's just the big ones. Once those are done, once I've got those, then the wiring can be permanent. The only other thing I would like to add, and which I will, I'm not sure how soon, but we'll see. is there's a Bluetooth module you can put onto the batteries, run the app, and then you can see what's going on. For the most part, I don't need that. I mean, I'm just running such small stuff here. Looking at the little um, battery levels themselves would be fine. Um, the solar charge controller might give me an indication. I mean, it'll tell me how much it's charging. I don't know if it'll give me um, the battery status on this particular model, if it'll read the battery status. So this is the part that goes to the battery. Now, before I was using this, and those 12-volt sockets I've got on there, just run into there and ran my solar panels into here. Worked fine. Charged up the battery. Had the panels facing the sun in the morning, and did a really good job. And then a couple of USB ports. So this is the only thing that's not going in the box because I need this out so I can see what's going on and then have access to the solar panels. I actually don't even need this particular one. So it's got 2 ports on here already. One for lighting, uses the same barrel style connector. Actually, I will need this one because this is for this is for the main plug that goes into here, but which has the panels have. I'll just talk myself into a problem here. But this will do right. I can still run individual lights off of here. Not that I would, but that's why I got the fuse and relay box there. But this is all flexible stuff. This will be sitting out here, so easy access. And easy access to charge up, small USB because this is the USB-A, so you're not going to get a lot of power charging. Certainly not like on the USB-C, PD, whatever ratings. That's kind of small stuff. I mean, I could charge my phone off it. It would be a slow charge, like anything else, but it'll still charge. Oop, don't want the can flying off anywhere. But yeah, this would be a simple setup. I would say within a month, I'll have it used. Technically, I could use it right now. I mean, the inverter has those cable connectors on it, like let's just do this. I can run that to any one of the batteries. So I put those 2 onto here, it's become instantly usable. So it doesn't need to be fancy sometimes. You can just have them all individual components. In a real sense, individual components is generally a better way to go. It's not necessarily the best way because best all depends on the circumstances. I mean, if you only have a car, you don't have a lot of space to dedicate to this. So the power stations, like the Blue Eddies and the Anchors and the other guys, the black and orange ones, and those guys. I can remember the name. Those are more compact and more usable for a car. Not everybody can dedicate the space to doing something like this. But if you've got the space to do something like this, better to do a component. Because if you have one unit all in one piece, and they're generally well-built ones, if any one component fails, the whole thing has to be sent off to be repaired. Here, if this fails, who cares? I take it out and I buy another one. Or if I want to upgrade, I can upgrade this. Or I can upgrade the batteries. This is much easier to do upgrades and much more flexible. But that's my setup. Not everybody has this kind of setup. If I want to upgrade the DC to DC charger, again, a couple of bolts, undo some wires, put the new one in, and go again. If I end up getting 100 amp hour battery, then I take one out. Or if I get a second, or get 2 of those. I mean, this is much more flexible, but not everybody needs the flexibility. And even depends on your use. My plan is, like I'm doing this right now. I'm going to be replacing this vehicle. The goal is to replace it this year. I'll get something a little bit bigger, like a Honda Pilot. So the plan is I'm not going to take this. If somebody buys this, they can have the entire setup. Because this is done specifically for this vehicle. Like this bed frame will fit in a bigger vehicle, but it's a smaller frame. It'll still do the job, it'll do everything. So, but it's better to sell it as a whole package. And then guess what? I will do this all over again. But what I'm going to do is I will be buying a power station so that I will have it set up right then and there and make it immediately usable. And then as time goes on, buy my components and build another proper setup. Well, another flexible setup. But so much depends on a lot of things. Right now, that's the idea. That's the goal. I mean, but once this is ready to be permanently wired in, these ends come off, and they'll just be bolted down into there. Put new ends on it with ring terminals. Put on there. Everything will be coated with dielectric grease, so it will protect from any corrosion and get a better electrical conductivity. Yeah, I'm happy how this. I'm glad I got to paint it. As much as a pain in the ass it was to spray paint in windy days, the only sunny days we had were windy days. I wanted this done this week, so done. Next step, start running wires. I have, you see a little wire here. This goes up to, I got two lights up on the back. So those are going to go into that fuse box. This is the wire. And I'll probably have to drill a little hole. Yeah, maybe on the side over here so the wire can come in and around. Yeah, we'll see. I got enough wire to go up to that part. That was the whole point of it. But that needs some soldering of connectors. So, and I'm going to be trying actually using my soldering iron with the DC to DC inverter. Not DC, the 12 volt inverter. That's DC to DC. So I will actually clip that onto the terminals, plug my soldering iron in right into there, see how that turns out. Because the soldering iron is only, I forget if it's 300 watts or 600 watts. This will handle 750, and this is good for resistive loads, so heated elements. I should be able to do the soldering just fine. It might be a little awkward for connectors, but it should be able to do it just fine. Now we'll see. That's another day. So I'll find another nice day. And they're calling for a lot of rain on and off. It's really cool right now. But yeah, this is the setup. It's comfortable. I'm pretty happy with how this all turned out. Had a lot of people help me out along the way, so I appreciate all you guys. All right, I think I've done enough damage for the day. Put everything back together, and next up would be more wiring. The fun part, right? All right, thanks everybody stopping by. Have you guys a good one, and like, subscribe, all the fun stuff. Take care.